Yeah, so here's a dropped object. Well, a few dropped objects, 7 crossover subs in particular, that was being transferred in a highline basket from the tender to the rig floor. So slide 3, Jackman. They packed all these crossover baskets into a crossover subs into a highline basket, and then connected it to the highline, and then sent it across the rig floor. Once reaching the rig floor, the tender highline winch operator slacked off, obviously under the instruction of the guy on rig floor. And during this activity, the basket was swaying around side to side, and unfortunately, at the time, the lanyard securing the safety pin for the locking mechanism on the side of the basket hooked onto a corner of the handrail over there, and this action forced the pin out of the latch, and the entire latch of the gate opened up, resulting in the subs to fall, 3 of it to the veto stopper and 4 to the BOP deck. Probably slide number 4 would probably be a good descriptor of it. So the big picture on the right hand side would be the highline connected to the basket. Once the basket reached the rig floor, the tender winch operator slacked off, and with obviously the movement of the basket to get it positioned into right into the V-door, the lanyard, the lanyard hooked, resulting in the latch opening. The left-hand side picture, the top left-hand side is where it hooked, and the bottom left-hand is the arrangement that was on the basket gate. Probably ask you to go to the next slide, Jackman. This is what fell as soon as the latch opened up on the side door of the basket. These subs fell to 3 of it to the veto stopper, and the rest of the 4 down to the BOP deck. You'll notice that there is hard barriers around the bottom area over here. So I don't know if you can see in the main picture of the slide that there is the area below the window is hard barriered as a red zone. So whoever wants to cross there needs to cross a hard barrier and the signage up there. Apart from that hard barrier, how we manage the red zones here is, when we have highline activity, we have the lights on, obviously, with regard to indicate that there is highline activity and that people should stay clear. But also a V-door light to show that there is activities at the V-door and OAC, and that the people should stay clear from that areas there. This red zone barriers did work, all right? There was nobody in the area. Everybody was clear. And fortunately, it fell to an area where that was a designated red zone. On to slide number 6. Again, this is the basket. The top left-hand side is the basket with the locking mechanism, pointing out the locking mechanism. And the thing that I'd like to bring your attention to there, that it is a single lock. You'll see in the middle there, that's only that particular locking mechanism for the gate of this basket. Subsequent to this, obviously, we needed to communicate to the fleet that we, by preference, should not be using baskets with a side door that can inadvertently open if there is contact. And if we have to use a basket with a side door, by preference, have a double locking mechanism on This is the middle picture. The middle picture shows us the main harness. You can see the length of the harness that goes on there, or the safety lanyard, sorry. And then also the pin that was that they used to secure the locking mechanism. So for Sapura, we use the nappy pin with spring steel. In this particular instance, this nappy pin was connected to the safety lanyard, and the lanyard being a longer version, unfortunately latched or hooked onto the handrail. Probably next slide. The next slide, slide number 7, Jacques, would be where just pointing out where the hard barriers are, with the signage. And then the pictures on the right-hand side shows where those highline warning lights are. So very quickly, I'll just quickly go through the findings. Technology was a DNV certified basket, last inspected on the 30th of September. This incident happened in November. The side door basket was used to transfer the subs up to the rig floor. 7 subs, as I mentioned, as the basket was spinning around, as it was coming to rest to be positioned into the V door, it spun, and the safety lanyard obviously hooked onto the corner of the handrail. I think I spoke of the rest of the ones. Again, on the technology, nappy style. The nappy style safety pin, what we use that we use here is what we use for temporary lifts. So a lot of highline lifts, we use the nappy style safety pin, but for any permanent securing of equipment that is installed at height permanently, we use the cutter style split pins. Under organization, we had a TVRA, we had a lift plan, all the pre-use inspections was done, radios was in place, we've got the squawk box talkback system, we've got had the red zone hard barriers, with the red zone flashing lights for the high line at the BOP deck, the bow deck, the catwalk, and the personnel transfer bridge, and we had the safety pins in place. So you'll see a lot of the barriers worked or was in place. The only difference is what I'll get to in a bit. The crane operator, the highline operator is very experienced. That is the first thing that we asked for in terms of how they were operating and how they actually landed it into the V door. But experienced crew, no SSEs, clear communication between the highline operators on either side, on the tender and the rig floor, so we couldn't fault that. Environment was good. It was nighttime, but the only difference is that with the heave and the roll of the tender, it does result in a bit of side-to-side movement of the basket as it's being transferred over from the tender to the rig floor. And that's the only influence, and this is what we consider normal. The causes here, at OSC handrail had a 90-degree angle, and that's where it hooked on, and we obviously fixed that. We found obviously loose subs loaded in those baskets, and in the past we've used and seen subs that had pins in there, and the pins, the subs are actually placed onto those pins, so it stands up. We didn't use that type of basket in this particular case. The safety lanyard entanglement possibility, wasn't captured in the TVRA at all. That hazard wasn't identified, unfortunately. So the length of that lanyard, number one, and the potential of it entangling on anything wasn't identified. And and unfortunately it resulted in this incident. The design limitations of this particular basket, single point failure there, it's just a one locking mechanism as opposed to a double. While it is a DMV transfer basket, it's used pretty much for a lot of transferred offshore. For our application, for a highline application, we kind of felt that really not suitable, because the highline is used 50, 100 times per day, so it's a high use, high frequency lifted piece of kit, and we feel that a double locking mechanism would probably be better for the application. Remedial actions, slide number 14. We obviously needed to modify the OAC handrail. We considered purpose-built sub-racks, a sub-rack with a pin into the baskets, and then shorten the safety harnesses and so forth. But the main thing was slide 15, that we reviewed the highline transfer basket for the fleet and went with a more robust DMV type basket with double locking capability. So regardless if one of it would ever hook up, heaven forbid, that there is another hooking mechanism on it. I think that's slide 15. So I can't see where we are in the webinar, but I think I've gone through all of the slides that I have.
All right, Benito, I must admit I didn't follow completely in sequence with the slides, but we have covered them all. Just put them up quickly from 11 to 14. People who review the video later, and they can see them. I'll stop the share now. Are there any questions for Benito? No questions. We can always reach out, of course, to Benito if there's more questions later.
Yeah, happy to share, guys. Whatever findings we have, I'll share the type of basket that we decided on. So happy to send you the details of that type of basket.
Yeah, a comment from Duncan in the chat group. Okay, good. Right, so Duncan has some details as well. His email address is in the chat. Is everyone able to see the chat as well?
I'm just looking at it now. Thanks, Duncan. I'll get into contact with you.